Well, hello and welcome to part 2 of Branding 101 as we continue to just look at the foundations of what we're going to do. In this video, we're going to look at the brand galaxy and the brand money zone. And this is more about the methodology that I use and this system around which I work when I work with clients and I work with brands. I want you to think about your company as if it were a planet. I use an analogy, you know, of planets and space and galaxies to help us think about brands. And so, what I want you to notice right here is in the brand galaxy, think of your planet out in space here. This would be your planet. Now, this planet represents your company right here. I also want you to notice that there is a competition brand planet right here. And there could be many more of these around, but we're just going to use one competition, one planet here. And in at the center of both of these planets, you can see that there is the molten red core. The hottest part of the planet represents your brand promise. And the brand promise is the most critical part of how you communicate how you are different in a good way. If you look over here, here's your target market. Your target market is out here, floating in space. This is all space out here. And they're going to be attracted to either your planet or your competition's planet. What did we say in the first video? We said that brand gravity is the most important thing. And here you can see the gravity, sort of like the attraction to these planets. The key is, as we said before, is your brand gravity strong? And the further question here, when we look at the brand galaxy, and I would point out that this is like analogous to your business context, right? The context in which you do business is your company, your target market, and your competition. So the question here is, when you look at your target market, are they more attracted to your planet or to your competition's planet? Is your brand gravity stronger than your competition's brand strategy, brand gravity? Now, a lot of the answer to that question is going to be, it's going to have a lot to do with what their problem is. What is their burning problem, your target market? What keeps them up at night? What is frustrating them right now? What is stressing them out? These are all what you would say, the problems that your target market is having. The question is your brand communicating a promise so clearly and so crisply, a differentiated promise from your competition that draws them more strongly to your planet, or is it going to be weak such that it draws them to your competition? And this is the key thing that we need to realize, is that the key to building a strong brand is realizing what will make your target market more attracted to your promise, to the solution that you promise, you're committed to solve for them. What makes them more attracted to your planet as opposed to your competition brand promise? Okay. Now, with that, let's move down here, and I want you to imagine we take those planets, and let me just fix this real quick so we can get up in here. I want you to imagine that we took these three, we took the planet, your planet, the competition planet, and target market, and we just sort of shoved them together, and we get a Venn diagram here. Okay, here's the target market sphere. Here's your company sphere, your brand. Here's your competition sphere. Now these are sort of representing the brand planets, right? And this is representing your target market and their burning problem. So you have your target market here. They're sitting out here. They say, I've got this burning problem. I'm stressed out. I need to solve it. I need to get this done. They're looking at your company and they're looking at your competition. And there may be others, right? What we want to do is begin to hone in on this area called the money zone. And here we begin to talk about key core competencies. Key core competencies are solutions to the target market problem that your company is very good at solving. You know, solutions to a problem that you are very strong at. Those are called key core competencies. Key core competencies are things that you and your team have natural ability for. You're passionate about it. You get up in the morning and you love to solve these problems. You know you're good at it. You know your authority. You're an authority in that area. You have social proof. In other words, other people say that you're good at it. And you bring these key core competencies to bear on the problems that are stressing out your target market, okay? Now, the other thing, obviously, your competition is going to be doing the same thing. So the key question is here, how do we reach out to the target market and compete against competition? Well, there's many ways to do it, but one of the most important ways that you think about how you compete is staying in this green zone. Now, what makes this green zone the money zone? These in the money zone are your key core competencies, KCCs. These are key core competencies that your competition either cannot compete with because they don't have the skills or they don't have the team, or it's very hard for them to compete with. In other words, they might be able to hire or outsource, but they're not. The key thing that you have to remember when you build a brand is that it must be built on this green zone as much as possible, such that when the target market is looking for a solution to their burning problem, they are going, and you know that your key core competencies can solve that. If your key core competencies match their problem and they don't see that solution based on your key core competencies, in their key core competencies, in their skill set, then they're going to choose you. I mean, this is marketing 101, right? That if you can solve their problem better than the competition, and that is where you must focus. You must focus your money and your time, your energy in this area. Now, what does that got to do with brands? It has to do with brands because branding is all about focus, and your marketing tools, your website, all of your communication, everything on social media, everything, all the wording and copywriting on your website, it all has to be based on this green money zone. This is where the revenue, it impacts your bottom line right here. So we focus on this as a brand. We focus on this when you think about your name, your tagline, your copywriting. We focus on it when we think about the colors, when we think about the design of the website, the usability of the website. What do we say on social media? What kind of posts do we send out? It all should be informed by the information that we get when we do the research into the money zone. Now, as you can see, there is a yellow zone here and a red zone here. These are the areas where your competition overlaps with the target market with their key core competencies. And the first thing that we want to talk about is the caution zone. The caution zone is an area where you share skill sets with your competition that cannot be avoided. In other words, in whatever industry or whatever business you're in, there's always going to be certain things that everybody in the industry has to do well, right? Whatever it may be. So they're unavoidable in the yellow zone. Sometimes it's impossible to avoid the yellow zone, but the key is just to be careful. There may be some things that you and your competition both do, and you both do it well. Then make sure that your skill sets are up to date, that you're constantly improving, you're constantly innovating. Do whatever you can in this zone. to make sure that your product is excellent. Now let's talk about the red zone. Now the red zone is different. This is an area where you can see that your circle is not overlapping in this red zone. That means that you do not have the same skills that your competition has to solve a certain problem that your target market has. You do not want to compete in this area. You don't want your brand promise to focus on this area, because why? Because you don't want to make promises you can't keep. You certainly don't want to get into the middle of whether it's selling a product or delivering a service in such a way that you don't have the team to take care of it. You don't want to make that promise and then fail. That that is one of the biggest mistakes you can make. So the key is to avoid the danger zone at all costs. When you're in the caution zone, continue to make improvements, stay focused, and stay, focused on delivering the highest quality that you can to make sure that you're on par with your competition. But in the end, what we want to do is stay focused on the money zone as much as possible. The marketing materials will focus on the money zone, or should. They should focus on the areas where you are different in a good way. Your target market is going to look at your money zone key core competencies and the brand promise based on here. And they're going to say, hey, wait a second. These guys solve my problem in a very unique way. And they do it in a way that the other guys can't do it. So this is called the money zone because it impacts the bottom line. When we are able to build your brand in such a way that people, keep in mind, the brand is over here, right? Their target market is going to be thinking about you. They're going to be talking about you. They're going to be gossiping about you. And we want it to be good gossip. When you focus on the money zone in your marketing, then you have much better chance of building a really strong brand that people think very well about you. They're excited about you. They're like, oh my goodness, these people can solve my problem. And that's the way that we want to build your brand over here in your target market. Remember, here's the target market again. They're floating out here in space. When you're focusing on this zone, your target market, that's going to build tremendous gravity. And this brand gravity is going to increase and increase and increase. Whereas this will not increase because they see that you're focusing on areas that the competition cannot compete on. Okay? So your brand promise, when they see clearly your brand promise is built on your money zone key core competencies, then we have an opportunity to really build what we call brand buzz, where people are really excited about your brand and they really want to be part of your brand and they want to hire you or buy your product. And that's what the goal is. Okay, so in summary, the brand galaxy represents your business context. It's the context in which you do business every day. It's your company, your target market, and your competition. Now, when we move into this first phase, we're going to be looking at your company. You're going to be doing research into your target market. It might be us. We might be handling that research, and you might be doing it yourself. Same thing with your competition, your competitive field. Either way, the key is to know what the problem is here. We also want to know how exactly is your competition solving it? How do they do? What are they doing right and what are they doing wrong? And then we want to dig into our own company. We want to figure out things like your core values, your personality, but we want to start with your key core competencies. Why? Because the key core competencies are the foundation of a brand. And we'll talk about personality, we'll talk about core values. We'll talk about a lot of things, but we want to start out with key core competencies, and then we move from there. So that's it. As always, if you have any questions, you can always email me and reach out. Thanks, and take care.